Hello, I'd love to share a video series with you, a tutorial about Django. Actually, it's about GeoDjango. You see, the questions I'll be attempting to answer in this series include things like, what's Django? Or what is GeoDjango? When do I use it? And how do I use it? Does it bring any notable benefits, perhaps to web mapping? Those are some of the questions that I will be answering. Of course, by practical demonstrations, we'll be showing you code and the results of the code. I will also be referring from the official Django documentation a lot in the course of it. Now, I am so pleased. I am very glad to do this. I have preceded that series with this video that shows you what we'll be developing in the course of the tutorial. Now, this is a demonstration of 4 projects. The first one, I've imagined some food store, and in this food store, we are saying that there are some of our customers who come from very far, would want to know them, would want to appreciate them, perhaps. And the only way to do this is by understanding, by integrating the concept of location. That's where GeoDjango comes in. We will see it. The other one gives us the actual location by showing us in a map of the various customers of our retail store, also an imaginary situation. Now, you see, our customers come from various constituencies. These constituencies are not necessarily imaginary because I've used real constituencies from my country, Kenya. But then the customers you'll be seeing in these constituencies have been imagined. So if there is any familiarity, or there is if the names of my customers are also your names, it's not intended to be so. And I hope that's not a big deal. Now, my customers are in various constituencies. What our retail store manager or management would want to know is, in this constituency, for example, how many customers are there and who are they, perhaps? And in this other one, now, if you want to open a new store in some other constituency, which constituency would be ideal? You see, it would be ideal probably because there are quite a number of customers in that given constituencies. That also you will see in the map and generally as we customize it the way we want. This other one, I've said governance and public service mapping. Basically, we are showing the counties in the Republic of Kenya. Now, there are various issues which I've sampled. Let's say water problems, something with farming and agriculture. Now, what you have to do, or the public servant in charge of this imaginary sector, will simply want to know which counties are affected by a certain problem, or are being faced by a certain issue. It will be well mapped out for a good presentation and even further analytics if he or she would so wish. Last one is a coordinate conversion tool, I may so say. Now here, you will be asked to paste in a valid OGR object, and that jargon will be broken down in future, just in the near future. Now, an OGR geometry object is a text object that represents a geometry, represents a shape. When we were talking about a county, for example, there's a way it can be represented by text, maybe a GeoJSON or a AML, keyhole markup language, or a GML. There are various ways of representing geometry. Now that's what you are required to paste in the given text field, and it will be converted to another coordinate system of your choice and wish. Now let's go over and start with our food store, checking customer distance. Food store, customer distance. Let's open it. Once again, let me say that this is an imagined situation. There is, to the best of my knowledge, no premier delicacies, and all these things is just written for the sake. The point is, let's get to see the concept or what GeoDjango can avail to those who decide to use it. We have our database with 3 customers so far, and we can query in to know who lives within which radius from the store. If we put 0 kilometers, by this I expect that we see all our customers because they live farther than 0. Think about it. They live, at least any one of them, even if one lives 1 meter from the store, he qualifies this kind of query. So if we ask the question, how many of them live 0 kilometers within 0 kilometer, further than 0 kilometer radius, you see they are all our 3 customers. Now there are some faithful ones who come 5 kilometers away from the store, but they are our customers. Who are they? It's Brian and Joe. There are even some true loyalists who stay, should I say beyond 10 kilometers away. Yeah, this Joe deserves to be given a coupon. Perhaps he should be rewarded for his fidelity. Let's ask, are there those who stay beyond 20 kilometers? And we are told that there are no such customers. Now, what you can see is that our application is able to evaluate the distance that the customers reside from the store. Trust you me, when we were creating the entries of our customers, or when we asked our customers to sign in, and I think that's the way to go for a situation like this, they did not have to say that I stay 20 kilometers from the store, or I stay 5 kilometers from the store, or I stay 1 kilometer from the store. That was needless. All they needed to do was to point out where they live and to enter their names. Like I want to show you. In fact, let me just show you that. We have 3 customers now. Let's assume we want to add a 4th customer. Let's call her Nancy. We'll go to Spatial Demos database. That's where I put the form. I can as well do it in what we call the admin panel. Why isn't the map showing? Yeah. Now, would say the name now is Nancy. Nancy. And Nancy love fries. Let's leave it at that. And let's pick a location where Nancy comes from. Damn, where's the map? Okay. Nancy lives somewhere in Valley Road. Let's just pick on this point. Then add the customer. Hopefully it will be successful. Good, Nancy has been successfully added into the database. Now, Nancy did not have to tell us how far from the store she resides. But let's look if there is something as food store, customer distance. Yes, there is Nancy who loves fries. Exactly what we had entered, or exactly how Nancy had signed in when creating an account with us. This list has been ordered by alphabets, if you'd be wondering about it. Now, how far does Nancy live? We can use a value that will list all of them, 0, and we see Nancy lives, oh, it's just 2 kilometers from the store. What happens? The application GeoDjango is able to evaluate if Nancy lives within this point. We have the coordinates and our store is in such a place. Then we know the coordinates, and through using various spatial functionalities, that distance can be evaluated. In fact, there are multiple ways of arriving at that distance using Django. Many thanks to PostGIS database. All these are functionalities. When it comes to spatial functions and spatial functionalities, these are granted to us by PostGIS database. PostGIS is an extender within Postgres. If you've added that extension in Postgres database, then you have spatial functionalities within your reach. That's why I'm using the PostGIS database. And PostGIS gives us all these advantages. So you may know, and we'll be exploring it deeper in the course of our tutorials. Now, let's imagine of another customer. Should we call her Agnes? Let's add Agnes to our database and let's specify that Agnes lives very far. See, Agnes loves pizza. So where does Agnes stay? We'll think of a place quite reasonable in Athi River, somewhere in Kitengela. So Agnes comes all the way from Kitengela to buy from our stores. So let me pick on this place. This is where Agnes resides and add the customer. Good, the operation is successful. So what do? We go back to our food store, customer distance, and indeed, well, I'm sorry for the many complications that came about as I was finalizing on the food store. Just to recap, you can see that our customers, the ones we've stored in our database, are all listed in our customers sheet, and we can query to know where if a particular customer meets a given criteria. Are there those who lives beyond 8 kilometers? Yes, that's Joe and Agnes. Hopefully we are through with this. We can go now on and check on the next situation. Retail store customer location. So let's open the app and see what we have. Now, this is yet another situation. It's not the previous store that we were talking about. In this case, we have mapped out some of the constituencies we have in Nairobi. I just extracted this when I was preparing for this presentation. Not all the constituencies, so this does not really depict all the constituencies in Nairobi, but some of them. I'm the one who extracted them that I thought would be enough for demo. Now, these are the constituencies where our customers live. Like in Westlands, you can see there are 3 of them. In Dagoretti North, there are 2, just by looking with your eyes. The constituencies are these polygons. You can see they are delineated, should I say so, with white boundaries, and our customers are these purple dots. Now, would want to know more about this situation. In Langata, for example, what's in Langata? I'll select or click on Langata and I'll be asked customers in Langata constituencies. Would I want to know more about them? I say yes. I'm told that customer is John. Okay. When I go back to my map view, look more. So in Langata constituency, we have one customer. It's called John. I can see so many of them in Embakasi. Who are they? I'll click on my map and select. Then I can see a list: Benjamin, Esther, Joe, and so on till I get to Vincent. If you've noticed, this list is also arranged alphabetically. Like I had mentioned in the other case, this can be altered to suit your specific needs and requirements. Let me go back to my map view. There are some constituencies that I know we have no customers. I would think of Ruaraka to be one such constituency. If I select on Ruaraka, no customer comes from Ruaraka constituency. Good. Now, perhaps this is not a real case why one would need to have this kind of information, but it is possible. You have some venture or some application where it would be needful that you get to know what sub-entities are within a given entity, and this entity, these entities represents spatial points or spatial places. A place, if you have a region and there are offices within that region, would you want to know specific information about regions, about an office in a given region? All that information can be represented and presented in maps, and it even gives us the advantage of doing query. Like the other case you saw, it was about distance. Now you see, when I click on this constituency, Starehe, and I get the names of our customers. I want you to know that when I was creating the database, I did not enter that Ali Hassan lives in Starehe. That was also needless to do. Ali Hassan simply had to tell us the specific coordinates of his location, and that was enough. Because in this case, PostGIS would give us would give us this functionality by what we call containment. There's another called within. I told you there are various options to explore. So it will check the boundaries of our given polygon. In fact, it will iterate through every constituency and check for Ali Hassan, which constituency does he fit in, and then that constituency is taken to note. For Barak, which constituency is it? Then it's also Stareh. That is the case for all the constituencies in our list and for all the customers. So it depends on what you ask. In this case, I think the question I was asking is, for Langata, check all the other customers who reside in Langata. And then it gets that there is indeed one customer named John, like we had seen, and gives me the name and everything we would wish to know about it. I hope you've seen it. This map is displayed by use of OpenLayers JavaScript library, which we will explore in depth. And in the course of this tutorial, I believe what is able enough to show such a display and you even make selections. If we had wished, we would even be able to select a customer from the map and even get more details about that. Very rich mapping library, OpenLayers. I love it and I prefer it above all the rest because it gives me benefits on many fronts. I believe if you interact with it and use it, you might love it as much as I do or even more. We will be seeing it in the course of our tutorials. So let's meet as we look at the next situation, that is governance and public service mapping. This I'm doing with a lot of caution. It's not meant to communicate anything ill in any manner of any sound now. Welcome. I also thought of some issues and I listed them as general difficulties in accessing water, concern with the local governor, harsh hot climatic conditions, harsh cold climatic conditions, general carelessness in environmental protection. I thought that there is this country that could be facing these issues depending on which county one resides in. Now, the kind of relationship that these issues have with the various counties in a database language is called many-to-many relationship. What do I mean? You will understand it. It's actually straightforward. An issue like this one, general difficulties in accessing clean water, could be a problem that many counties face. And you see, for any one county in our counties could also face quite a number of these issues. That is called many to many. But I believe much more context and clarity will come out when we'll be doing the coding. It's something to keep at the back of your mind. It is very important and fundamental that you get it, especially when you'll be creating databases with a relational functionality. So let's see. General difficulties accessing water concern. Let me choose this one. Harsh hot climatic conditions. Now, when I click it, I expect to see a map display of these counties. Good. Now, what really happened? Number one, I want to say something here. 9 counties with harsh hot climatic conditions. You remember the issue title is called harsh hot climatic conditions. And this number 9 is not hard written or coded by me. Django gives me, sorry for the noise, Django gives me what I can call dynamic approach, whereby I don't have to hard query everything. Some of them come automatically depending on the kind of resources that you've requested. So here we asked, which counties have been linked with the issue hot climatic conditions? It would iterate through every single one of those county, and if Narok fits the description, it would make its GeoJSON file that would be mapped later on when all the data has been sampled together. So basically, this thing collected the various GeoJSON files for each of the counties that would meet this criteria, and then it mapped them out. So you are able to see if you are some governor or politician somewhere, or you are an NGO organization. This help you to figure things out, to have a visualized presentation of what's happening. You are just able to see, oh, these are the counties. So it helps you to strategize on what to do. If you are through with maybe addressing the issue in Turkana, it can also be represented in a different way. But the point is that you may know that this is possible. The names are 9, and if you count them in the map, they are 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good. Let's look at the case. Back to issues list. And what about those counties with local governance concerns? We are given a list of 6 counties. Now, I think this is the place where Yuan says that this is not a true situation. It's really not intended to portray that these counties face governance issues. It is for the sake of my YouTube channel and for this tutorial, nothing beyond that. Now, the 6 of them, as you can see, Siaya, Kisumu, Homa Bay, Migori, and Nairobi and Kirinyaga. Perhaps someone would want to know such kind of information visualized in a map, and even more information given that have some special attributes. It is possible. So you can see it would generate the GeoJSON files for all the counties that meets the criteria and maps them out. Now there is this interesting one. Back to issues list. General carelessness about environmental pollution. Pardon me, because this might take a while to load. I deliberately put all the counties of Kenya, 47 of them, be having this issue. I think that's why it will be taking a little bit of time to load, but it will load. General carelessness about environmental protection. I think going forward, I will optimize our GeoJSON file because it I looked that one of them, for every coordinate, they are up to 8, 8 or 10 decimal places. That takes much unnecessary space. We would just need 3 or 4 decimal places. But if you can imagine, for every single one, for every single vertex has been represented by those many decimal places. That's why it took so long to load. Now you see this case now, because I had entered that the counties that have the problem are all the 47. That's why we have a complete list map of Kenya with all the counties. You can see the list is also given here. I think this will be it for this demonstration about coordinate management. We'll be meeting the next one about coordinate conversion. So thank you very much for seeing it. You can think about applications that that would utilize this given purpose, that this given utility, and you can let me know about them. Now, not very long ago, someone in a WhatsApp group that I'm a member asked about the process of converting coordinates from a given coordinate reference to another. And I felt that that was a pretty straightforward exercise to do, even when using the normal software, mapping software, desktop mapping software that we have, like Quantum GIS, QGIS, like ArcGIS. I felt it was easy. But then, having interacted with PostGIS, it's even easier and faster when using PostGIS. That's what we want to talk about in this part of the demo. Now, as you can see, it accepts 3 inputs. The first one is the geom text object. Now, by the geom, I mean that point that only has the coordinates. Well, not that geometry part of it. If you can see, we know that it's a point with these coordinates. Now, that's the part it accepts. You do not want the other properties like name. Let's say this is the coordinate of a place in America, because I can see it's in the west, negative 87 degrees longitude. So we only want this section of it that has the geom attribute. And then this text field accepts, like I've indicated here, a numerical value that represents a coordinate and also a well-known text that represents that coordinate. Either of the two works just fine. Now, this one is the numerical EPSG representation of WGS 84 coordinate reference. Now, here is where you put the output coordinate reference that you wish for this given coordinates. Now, these coordinates, by saying 4326, we are saying that the coordinates of this place are in the format of WGS 84. We do want it to another coordinate system. Let me say, is it web Mercator? Sorry, I don't know where I put my notebook. But it has a value of 3857. So we want to convert these coordinates. Please take note that in this case it's negative 87, 41. When we do the conversion, we get an HTTP response with coordinates that are different. Now it's negative 90 something, even this one. So it has been converted and successfully. So you can alter this to any value you'd wish. You'd say, let me put for my home city 36. It's always 36.02, not very sure. And the latitude is negative 0. Not sure if it's 0.1. 8. I think so. Now, if we do it with the same conversion, because this should be the longitude and latitude, so this is the spatial reference for it. Let's convert it from that WGS 84 to the web Mercator, and good, we find that the values have been converted. And PostGIS does it extremely fast. We'll be doing some comparison in the course of our future tutorials. Hopefully you'd find this helpful or beneficial in some ways, especially when I've deployed this website on the web, and you can also use it for various other uses. So thank you very much for checking this. Now, I have said that it gives me so much pleasure doing this. I want to do more of these videos. I'll be partnering with a friend or two in the course of this work. All we want is to give content that is of quality to our viewers. Now, if you will take note of the kind of videos that we'll be uploading in the course of time, you'll see that there is much geospatial content. But it will not mean that that's the only thing we'll be doing here. We'll be giving out varied content. It might be something about JavaScript, a framework, a library, or it could be Python, or anything we deem appropriate. But we believe there will be much work in geospatial. GIS will be remote sensing and things related to the geospatial community. Again, I would love to say that your feedback is very important to us. Kindly tell us what you think. Tell us what you'd expect that we upload. Tell us how you'd want us to do it. And even as you wait for the next immediate series that will be breaking down what we've shown today, we believe that you will have an understanding of what we want to give to you, and your contribution on how to help us make it better will be coming forth. I believe so. So kindly give us feedback. Tell us what's in your mind. Tell us what you think. And we are sure to take note of them and improve. So thank you very much once again. It was nice showing this video tutorial. I hope you liked it and I hope you are anticipating for much more. Have a nice time, friend.